Welcome to Office 2016 video number 6. Hey, in this video, we're going to see how to create a business letter, create a letterhead, save as a template, and much more. Here's our complete list of topics. Now, I'm going to close this Excel file with the X up in the upper right-hand corner or Alt F4. Now, I've already put my jump drive in and drilled down to our video file Word folder. Here's all the files we've created in the last couple of videos. We want to create yet another file and put it in this folder. Now, I want to show you a different way to open up a Word document. Normally, we come down here and click this and then F12 to save as. But if you're in Windows Explorer, you can come to the white area and right-click the white area, point to New, and then look at that. We can create a Word document or an Excel file right here using Windows Explorer. So I'm going to click Microsoft Word document. Immediately, it puts the file in the correct location and highlights just the file name, not the extension. So I'm going to immediately type letterhead and enter. Now it's letterhead.docx. I'm going to use the Enter key to open that. Now our goal here is to create a letterhead, save it as a template, and then write our business letter. Now a letterhead just means we have the name of our company, some logo, and maybe an address, email, telephone number. And we can use that letterhead over and over for official letters. Now our business or team that we're on is Business 216 Team. I'm going to hit Enter 1, 2, 3 times to add 4 hard returns. Now, we're going to add a picture here, and then we'll add our address and email, and then add an underline and save it as a template. But I briefly want to talk a little bit more about character level formatting and paragraph level formatting. Now, if I double click 216, we saw how we can come up to the font group or use keyboards like Control-B, Control-U. But these are not all of the character level or font options we have. We can use the dialog launcher. Now, if I click that dialog launcher, it opens up the font dialog box. We can also use the keyboard Control-D. Now, a few of these options are up in the ribbon tab, like font, font style, like bold, size. But look down here, font color, that one's up there. But you can pick an underline style, an underline color. You can even select things like strike through. And notice, dialog boxes have a preview, double strike through. Now, usually those are used for crossing things off a list. Uncheck that superscript. That's when you have like x squared, and you need the little squared part to be in the upper right-hand corner. Subscript, that's like in statistics when you have x sub 2 or x sub y, and you need the y in the lower right-hand corner. Small caps, all caps, and hidden. If you check hidden, yes, this is a character level formatting, but when you print, the thing won't print out. It'll only appear when you have the file open. Now I'm going to uncheck all of that. That's just some more character level formatting options. And we're not going to use any of them right here. Click OK. Now I want to talk about paragraph level formatting. And notice each one of these paragraphs, as we saw before, has some formatting. The entire paragraph has that formatting. Not only that, but when I hit Enter, 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 that paragraph level formatting carries forward. Now what I want to look at is, why is there so much space between the hard returns? Well, to figure that out, I want to open the paragraph dialog box. One way to do it is come up to Paragraph and click the dialog launcher. The other way is you can, with your cursor somewhere in the paragraph, right-click and point to Paragraph. Now, just like all dialog boxes, all these different elements, you can actually just try them and watch the preview. Alignment, we already saw that one centered, right? There's our preview. Go back to left. Indentation, that's the entire paragraph, all the lines how far it's indented from the margins. If I increase the left indentation to 0.5 inches, we could see our preview down here. I'm going to decrease this. Later when we do our research paper, we'll use this awesome paragraph level formatting first line indent. And then every paragraph as you type your research paper will automatically have just the first line. Now notice first line in tab only does the first line. Indentation over here, indent the entire paragraph. Now this is what we're interested in, spacing. Now why is there this space between each paragraph? Well, we can have space before and after. And look at that. The default style in Word gives us 8 points after each paragraph. Each point is 1/72 of an inch. So if I change this to 0, watch what happens to the preview. And there we go. No space after. Multiple. Look at that. The default in earlier versions used to be one line. In 2010 and 13, it was like 1.15, and now it's 1.18. I have no idea how they came up with that, but I can simply come over and say single line spacing. Now, when I click OK, it's only going to happen to that first paragraph. These 4 I just put there so we could see that there was this spacing problem. I'm going to highlight all of those and hit the delete key. Now watch when I hit enter, 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 that paragraph level formatting carries forward. And for us, for our business letter, that's what we want. Now I'm going to take my cursor, and in the second paragraph mark, I want to insert our team logo. So I'm going to go up to Insert, over to Online Pictures. In the text box, I'm going to type graduation and enter. I'm going to come down here and click Show All Results. Now, I'm just going to pick the one at the very top. I'm going to check this one right here and click Insert. You may have selected a different one, or maybe you didn't see this one. Now, just as we did last video, I'm going to point to one of these little white circles and click and drag. Now, this is considered in line with all the text, which is what we want. So I have this selected, and I want to jump to the end and start typing. So I'm going to hit the End key, E-N-D, space. Building 29 is our address. Room 308, fall quarter 2017. You type whatever particular quarter you're in. Highline College. And then for a letterhead, we have a telephone number or an email or something like that. fun.highline.edu. Now we have our name, and I actually want to very carefully highlight just the text, not the paragraph mark. Control B. And then I'm going to use Control square bracket to increase the font size. Now that's sort of annoying right there. I should have fixed this earlier. Right click, ignore all. Now, there is our team name. There's our logo. There's our address and email. Now, for a letterhead, we like to have a line that separates all of this from the letter below. So one way to not do this is to highlight the whole line there and use underline. The problem with that is it doesn't go all the way to the edge of the margin. So if I delete this, you can see that the line does not extend to the edge of the margin. Now I'm going to Control Z to undo that. Control Z to undo the underline. Another incorrect way to do this, and I've seen all of these all the years of teaching this class with business letters, is to come up to Shapes and select a line and then click and drag and draw. That one is not going to fit to the edge of the margins perfectly either, so that if we change the margins, it would automatically update. Now I'm going to Control Z. I show you those two mistakes because I don't want any of you to get this wrong on the test. Or more importantly, I don't want you to create a letterhead and business letter out in your jobs in an inefficient way. Here's how we do it. We simply click. Remember, this is just a paragraph with one line, and we come up to paragraph level formatting and the drop down. Now, you can use things like outside border sometimes that's appropriate when you want to emphasize. But for us, we simply want bottom border. Now, the great thing about that is it will always extend to the edge of the margins. It's the fastest and easiest to enact. And if we change the margins, like we go up to Layout, Page Setup Dialog Box, or we use the keyboard Alt-PSP, if I were to change the margins, 0.5 tab, 0.5 tab, 0.5 tab, 0.5 tab, and enter to enact this OK button, notice it totally updates perfectly. Now I'm going to Control Z because I want to keep those particular margins. Now that's it for our letterhead. So what a lot of people would do is they would save this, Control S, and I want to close it with the X or Alt F4. And I want to see what happens if we open up this Word document. Remember, our goal is to have this sitting here on our computer and open it up many different times every time we need to type a new letter. So if I double click and open it or hit Enter, notice it's still a .doc and it's still letterhead. So if I forget to F12 and then name this, like something like letter to Jack, right? If I forget to F12, if I start to type my letter and then hit Control S, what I've done is I've added something that belongs in the letter to the original letterhead template. So I'm going to Control Z, Z. So the way you get around this is we're going to save it as a template. And how do we change the file extension and create a new file? We use Save As. So I'm going to use the F12 key. And sure enough, down in the dropdown for file extensions, right below our default, and then the M for macro, and then the DOC if we want to save it to an older version, is a template. Templates have been around for a long time, and they do something special. I'm going to select that. DOT for template X. I can already see the file name and the extension. And notice it did something that's annoying to me. It tried to save to the normal Microsoft template location. So if we're not paying attention with our file management skills, we might save it there and then not know where it is later. I can see right here clearly on the left our jump drive. Click, Highline, Fall, 216, Video, and there it is, O2 Word. Where do you want to save it? It's in the right place. There's the same name, but with a different extension, .docx, and click Save. I can see up here it's showing .docx. Now I'm going to close this Alt F4. And now clearly we have two different files. But watch what happens when you double click or highlight and hit Enter to open a template. It's totally polite. It knows that that template should always sit there unaffected, and it will always open as if it was a brand new document. Now, if you forget and type and then Control S, of course, Control S will open up Save As. Now, I'm going to hit F12, and now I can save it. Type letter to Jack. Now, I want to make sure and save it to the right location. Notice the template does something different. It doesn't remember where it came from, like a Word document or PowerPoint or Excel when we open it from Windows Explorer. So I'm going to make sure and save it to the right location. There it is, Word. Letter to Jack, .docx is fine. Click Save. All right, so templates. I love templates. You can have them in Excel, too. You have your monthly report template, and you just need to add some numbers. Save it as a template. Over there, it would be the file extension XLTX. Now, we need to talk about a business letter. And in your notes, they have general guidelines for the formatting of a business letter. Now, there's our letterhead. I need a date. Date can be 1, 2 hard returns, all the way to like 6 hard returns sometimes. I'm going to backspace. Now, for our letter, we're always going to align the date and our closing, like sincerely or truly yours, and the actual name. We're always going to align them on if we look at our ruler up here, the 3.5-inch mark. Now, again, there's lots of conventions for letters. Sometimes the dates are on the left. Sometimes they're on the right. Sometimes there's a very exact location. So we're going to set our date, closing, and signature all at 3.5 inches. Now, the way we do this most efficiently is to set a tab. Now, notice if I hit the tab key, that's the default. It goes 1/2 inch. And I don't want to have to go tab, 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 tab every single time, that many tabs. And when I get down here, do it again and again. Control Z. That's why we have the ability to set a tab. Now, backspace. I want my tab right there. So with my cursor in that paragraph mark right there, the fastest way to set a tab is to use the ruler. Now, if you don't see your ruler, you have to go up to View and over to Show and check Ruler. Now, a tab, we simply come up, and on the ruler, we very carefully click, and we see that little L. That means the left tab. Now, when we hit the tab key, look at that. One tab went 3.5 inches in. Now, I'm going to Control Z to undo the tab, and Control Z to undo the setting of a tab. Control Z. Now, tabs are a paragraph level formatting. So if you went up to the paragraph group and click the dialog launcher, here in the paragraph dialog box, there it is down there, tab. If I click on this, this is the full tab dialog box. Now, I actually have a reference video at our class website and in the description below the video that shows you all the different tabs here. Now, if we were going to set it here, we'd simply open this up. And let me show you the keyboard if you ever need it. Alt-O-T is the keyboard for tab. Then I simply type 3.5. Now, when I click OK or hit Enter, I can see that L right there. Now, again, the fastest way is to simply click with your mouse on the ruler. Now, remember, that's a paragraph level formatting. So watch this. If I hit Tab, when I hit Enter, that tab is still in that paragraph mark. Tab, Enter, Tab. Now, we're not going to use tabs in this part of the letter, but down at the bottom when we get to our closing and signature, we will use the tab key, and it will still have our 3.5-inch tab. Now, Control Z and Tab. Now, I want to insert a date. And instead of typing it out, I'm going to go up to Insert, over to Text, Date and Time, and click Date and Time. Now, the keyboard for that is important because we're inserting dates a lot. The Alt keyboards, remember, we hit Alt. We look when we're teaching ourselves for the first time. There's an N. I hit the N key. Now, I'm looking at date. I see the D, so I hit D. The slow Alt keys are for when you're learning the first time. Once you get it, then you Alt-ND. Now, I'm going to down arrow, and I'm going to put Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017. Now, I want you to notice something, that this is checked on my computer to be automatic. That means if I click OK, every time I open up this letter to Jack file, the date will be updated. Now, I'm going to click OK for a second because I want to show you something. That may or may not be what you want. Most of the time for a letter, you want the historical date there. Now, if you hover your cursor, it shows gray. That means you know that there is something behind the scenes going on. This is actually called a field. Right-click Update Field. That only shows up when there's some secret stuff happening behind the scenes. What that secret stuff is for us is it means it'll always update. Now I'm going to Control Z, Alt-ND. Now that checkbox is sometimes very useful because you want it to update all the time and have the date. But I'm going to uncheck it because this is historical letter where I want to hard code the date in it. I click OK or hit Enter. Now let's hit Enter, and I want to inside address. That means the address for Dr. Jack Birmingham. This can be between 3 and 8 hard returns. Now I'm going to type the name, Dr. Jack Birmingham, and enter, enter. Now, I want the full address right here. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to go open up a browser. I'm going to open up Chrome. I'm going to type Highline College and enter. Here's the website right at the top. I'm going to click. I'm thinking the address is at the very bottom, so I'm going to hit the END, E-N-D key to get to the bottom of the web page. And there it is. I'm going to highlight using my I-beam cursor, Control-C to copy, Alt-Tab to jump back to my Word document. And we could paste and use the Smart Tag, but another option is if we go up to Home, there's the Paste drop-down, and there's Keep Text Only. Another way to do this is right-click. And I'm right-clicking that paragraph, and there's our Keep Text Only. If you forget and Control-V, there is our Smart Tag for changing the paste options as we saw last video. I'm going to select Keep Text Only. So there's 3 ways to do this common task. We copied from somewhere, and our goal was to paste without formatting using Keep Text Only. Enter. Now I want to add a line to this, so I'm going to come right after Jack Birmingham and enter. President, comma, Highline College. So there is our inside address. Now when we type our letter, we can enter, enter. And I'm going to start it out with our greeting. Dear Dr. Jack Birmingham. Now look at it up here. I forgot the D. That red line was screaming at me earlier that there was a problem. I'm going to put that dot. Now when we have our greeting, if we're being casual, we can use a comma and then enter, enter. But in business letters, we want to be formal. So backspace, and then I'm going to use a colon. Now, we could go ahead and write a long letter here, but we're going to write something short. So we type some text, hitting Enter each time. I hit Enter, Enter, and now when I hit Tab, look at that. My closing line is perfectly lined up. So I type sincerely, comma, and then Enter, 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 Tab. Look at that. Business 216. Now we left some room there so we could sign it. I'm going to Control S. And there is our finished business letter where we created a template letterhead, and we're sure to use paragraph level border for that. We inserted a date, used our correct formatting, and of course that awesome tab feature, that paragraph level formatting. Now, there's one other thing we actually need to talk about when we create a file from a template. Now, I'm going to close this finished business letter, Alt F4. If we ever want to edit this DOTX, well, of course, if we double click it, it opens it as a .docx file. So if we want to edit it, one way to do this is when we have Word open, I'm going to click Escape, and we can go up to File, Open, down to Browse. And this is the Open dialog box. We'll drill down. There's the Word folder. I don't see it here, but down in Open, we have the option to change the view or the filter. I can click the drop down. I could select templates, but I'm going to select all. This is a great trick. I can see everything in that folder. Now when I double click DOTX, I can see up in the title bar, sure enough, it let me open it as a template. Now I could make whatever changes I wanted. For example, if this was the company letterhead, which it is, if we are always required to have a tab, then why not just set it here? So as soon as we open it, it's already set. Now I'm going to Control S, and now we have edited that template and saved it. All right, that was a lot of fun with letterheads, templates, and business letters. Next video, we'll talk about creating a resume. All right, we'll see you next video.